Welcome to our walk together. Just a few messages before we embark on this journey together. For those of you tuning in on YouTube, it would mean the world to us if you could hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. Your comments and feedback from both the video and audio versions of the podcast are always welcome and greatly appreciated. Now, let's dive into the podcast.
Hello, and welcome to Our Walk Together. This is the place where we have a chance to listen and to learn from others on our walk. My name is Paul Long, and I will be your host, but also a fellow traveler. I'm glad that you're able to join me today on Our Walk Together. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Our Walk Together. We're beginning a new year. It's an exciting time. A time when naturally we begin to think of doing things like reflections and priority setting and intention setting and those silly resolutions that we all make. Not that resolutions are silly, but sometimes it gets to be a fact of, resolution lasts for a week, and then it's gone. Our resolutions should become more than a checklist. They should become a means to live the gospel daily. Through small intentional acts shaped by faith, we can strengthen our connection to God and to each other and to the world around us. At the outset of this episode, let me clarify that I'm not just speaking to Franciscans. These principles and ideas can and should be used by everyone. When setting New Year resolutions through a secular Franciscan lens, each goal can reflect a deeper purpose. These are not just aspirations. They're daily steps toward living out the gospel. Whether focused on personal growth, community, or environment, resolutions can embody humility, service, and care for creation in tangible ways. Personal development can often feel like a solitary activity, but it can become a chance to nurture relationships and to cultivate simplicity. Think of goals that foster growth while staying rooted in the values and the gratitude of humility. Some ideas might be strengthen bonds with loved ones. Commit to reaching out weekly to a family member or to friends you've lost touch with. A heartfelt phone call or handwritten note can make all the difference. Can learn a meaningful skill. Dedicate time to learning something hands-on, like gardening or cooking, that aligns with a simple and intentional lifestyle. A big one for most of us is we can, on occasion, unplug purposefully. Set a weekly day to disconnect from social media or reduce screen time. Not every day, because I do want you to listen to this, but set a time when you can, reduce it or turn all the machines off. And replace that time with prayer, reflection, or being present with loved ones. These kinds of resolutions can encourage growth, not for the sake of self-improvement alone, but as a way to deepen your relationships and align your habits with a life of service. A core value of secular Franciscans is service to others, and your resolutions can reflect that commitment. Focusing on your local community is a powerful way to live out this principle. You could volunteer regularly, offering your time to a local shelter, a soup kitchen, or a parish initiative. Even a few hours a month can contribute to a significant outcome. We could support small business or artisans. When shopping, prioritize buying from local vendors or fair trade initiatives to foster a sense of solidarity and justice. You could be a quiet advocate, join or support local causes tied to education, healthcare, or housing by attending meetings, signing petitions, or donating when able. Rather than taking on every need at once, focusing on one effort can lead to greater impact and sustained involvement. Caring for creation is not only a modern concern, but also deeply Franciscan. Being mindful of the environment is an act of gratitude for God's gifts, and resolutions in this area can have lasting effects. Maybe you could adopt sustainable habits. Simple changes, such as using reusable bags, reducing water waste, or cutting back on single-use plastics, can add up quickly. You could plant something, whether it's planting trees, starting a vegetable garden, caring for houseplants. Tending to creation can nurture a sense of connection and responsibility. We could support eco-friendly initiatives. Consider supporting programs that restore habitats or promote renewable energy in your area. These choices may seem small, but their cumulative effect reflects a Franciscan value, treating all creation with reverence and care. By focusing on these resolutions rooted in Franciscan values, we can step into the new year with purpose, allowing our daily actions to reflect our faith and commitment to the gospel. Each resolution, no matter how modest it may appear, becomes a thread in the fabric of life, fabric of a life lived with intention and grace. Prayer and reflection are essential anchors for staying true to any resolution, especially when viewing the process through the lens of secular Franciscan values. They provide not only a foundation for intention, but also the ongoing strength to persevere when challenges arise. By rooting resolutions in spiritual practices, they shift from fleeting aspirations to enduring commitments that align with faith and purpose. Incorporating prayer into a daily routine doesn't need to be overwhelming. It's about creating spaces, however small, to invite quiet moments of connection with God. These moments serve as checkpoints, gently reminding us of the promises we've made and the reasons behind them. Some examples of how we could do this: a morning intention, or setting intentions in the morning. Begin the day with this simple prayer of gratitude and ask for guidance to live your relationships fully. You could anchor prayer to your daily habits. Pair prayers with regular activities. Offer thanks before meals. Whisper a prayer during your commute, or meditate silently while doing household tasks. We also could use reminders. Setting alarms or keeping a prayer card nearby can help you stay consistent when life feels busy. These small efforts can grow into a rhythm of prayer that feels natural over time. Think of prayer as spiritual fuel. It keeps the flame of commitment alive, even when motivation wanes. Franciscan spirituality values the bond of community, and this extends to holding one another accountable in our resolutions. Sharing our goals with others not only for support, but also it's an opportunity for shared growth and encouragement. Those of us who belong to fraternities could could confide in our fraternity or parish group, sharing resolutions with fellow secular Franciscans or a faith-based group transforms them into collective intentions. Others can pray with you or remind you of your purpose during moments of doubt. We need to check in regularly. Schedule occasional conversations with someone who shares your values to discuss progress, struggles, and successes. It's not about judgment. It's about mutual encouragement. And most difficult for many of us, we need to be open to support. Accept feedback and prayers from others when challenges arise, and be willing to do the same for them. Accountability in a community is like having a compass when you're unsure of your direction. It helps ensure your actions align with the gospel and fosters deeper relationships in the process. Prayer and connection with others transform resolutions into more than tasks to complete. They become acts of faith and shared purpose. By rooting your goals in these practices, you create space for grace and perseverance, even when the journey feels difficult. Living through the lens of secular Franciscan values shifts how we prioritize and plan for the year ahead. These values, humility, simplicity, community, and care for creation, guide not just what we do, but how we do it. New Year's resolutions, viewed this way, become opportunities to align our lives more closely with gospel living. Let's look at how these principles can shape meaningful, faith-filled goals. Humility and simplicity stand as cornerstones of the Franciscan way, calling us to resist the noise of vanity and materialism. In this spirit, resolutions take on a quieter but more profound purpose. Instead of chasing achievements to impress others, humility challenges us to focus on what truly matters. Consider simplifying your goals. Can you choose one or two priorities rather than spreading yourself thin? This approach not only reduces stress, but it also encourages thoughtful, intentional living. Humility also invites you to embrace imperfection. Set achievable goals, recognizing that growth happens through small, faithful steps. Some practical resolutions might include cutting unnecessary expenses or redirecting funds to charity or those in need. Maybe decluttering your living space to create a sense of peace and focus. You could practice gratitude daily to foster a heart centered on God's blessings. These acts create room for God's grace, nurturing an interior simplicity that echoes outward in how you live. Service is also at the heart of following Francis. It's not an occasional activity, but a daily posture of giving. Resolutions rooted in service can transform how you view time and resources. What might happen if part of your New Year's focus shifted to others rather than to yourself? We could start small and yet meaningfully. Volunteer regularly to make it a habit to check in on neighbors. Share your talents with your parish or a local charity. Remember, service isn't limited to grand gestures. Often it's found in unnoticed, consistent acts of kindness. Some ways to turn this value into resolutions: offer to mentor someone, whether personally or professionally. Dedicate one day a month to help at a shelter, a food bank, or a community program. Organize or join a support group focused on outreach, like visiting the homebound or praying for those in need. Each step creates a ripple effect, strengthening the bonds that unite us as a society and deepening personal connections rooted in love and fellowship. Respect for creation also reflects our gratitude for God's gifts and our shared responsibility to care for the earth. Francis's love for nature wasn't merely poetic, it was deeply spiritual. Today, this value challenges us to make choices that heal the environment rather than harm it. Environmental resolutions don't have to be overwhelming. Even small changes, when multiplied over time, help foster a healthier planet. These actions reflect not only care for nature, but also solidarity with the poor and future generations who are most affected by environmental harm. Maybe some ideas to consider. Reduce waste by switching to reusable containers, bags, and bottles. Participate in local cleanup events, or conservation projects. Educate yourself and others about sustainable living. Share resources, tips, and encouragement. We could create a habit of walking or biking more, reducing reliance on cars. Or we could choose to live in harmony with creation, and the choice of that is more than an ecological goal. It's a spiritual practice, a way of honoring God's handiwork in every blade of grass and drop of water. By aligning your resolutions with secular Franciscan values, each goal becomes part of a larger purpose. It's not about perfection or meeting society's ideals of success. Instead, it's about walking faithfully with humility in service to others and awe of creation. New Year's resolutions offer a special moment to pause and set intentions for the path ahead. For secular Franciscans, this process carries a deeper significance. It's a chance to align personal goals with the gospel and Franciscan values. Resolutions shouldn't just be ambitious promises destined to fade by February. Instead, they can be purposeful commitments that reflect humility, service, and compassion. Thoughtful planning and reflection can transform your resolutions into meaningful steps toward living your faith more fully. Effective resolutions benefit from clarity and intentionality. The SMART framework, S-M-A-R-T, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, provides a solid foundation for creating these actionable goals. By using this structure, you can ensure that your goals are both practical and spiritually rooted. In all these categories, first, specific. Vague goals lack direction. Instead of aiming to be more giving, focus on something direct, like preparing care packages for those in need, or joining a local food drive monthly. Specificity fosters accountability. Our goals should be measurable. Clear benchmarks help track progress. For example, if your goal is to deepen prayer life, commit to 15 minutes of prayer each morning, or completing a spiritual reading a spiritual reading plan by a specific date. Goals should be achievable. Set yourself up for success by choosing goals that are practical within your current circumstances. Franciscan values encourage embracing simplicity in small steps. You don't need to do everything. Start with one meaningful habit. They should be relevant. Ground your goals in the principles that matter most. Ask yourself, does this goal honor my faith, relationships, or responsibilities? A truly relevant resolution will resonate with your commitment to live the gospel. And they should be time-bound. Open-ended plans can fade without a clear time frame. Set deadlines for each step along the way. For instance, aim to join a parish ministry by March, or finishing a spiritual retreat planning checklist by summer. Using the SMART method doesn't just keep you focused, it helps ensure your efforts align with the Franciscan call to humility, service, and care. Each deliberate step becomes an act of faith in action. Before setting new goals, it's vital to reflect on the journey you've already taken. Looking back at your triumphs and challenges can reveal lessons, build gratitude, and offer clarity. Reflection isn't just about dwelling on missteps. It's about understanding how God has worked in your life and where you're being called next. Consider some of these prompts as you begin to reflect. What blessings stood out for you this past year? Recognize moments of joy, growth, or connection that strengthened your relationships with God. What situations challenged your patience or humility? These can highlight areas for spiritual or personal improvement. How did you respond to opportunities for service? Reflecting on how and when you give to others can inspire new ways to serve in the coming year. What habits drew you closer to God? Prayer, scripture readings, or acts of kindness may offer a template for future goals. Where did distractions or detachment pull you away from living simply? Identify these moments that can guide adjustments toward values like balance and mindfulness. Reflection is like tending a garden. The more carefully you examine the soil, your past experiences, the more fruitfully your efforts can grow moving forward. For example, if you struggled with overcommitment, you might resolve to simplify next year's schedule. Or recalling the joy of a successful fundraiser, you could plan to deepen your involvement with similar initiatives. This process of looking back allows you to approach resolutions with both humility and intention. It's not about perfection, but about progress toward a life that honors God and others. By learning from the past, you're better prepared to create resolutions that are meaningful and attainable. The joy of living out New Year's resolutions is an ongoing process. It's not solely about reaching the goal. It's also about appreciating the transformation that comes along the way. By taking time to celebrate progress, we foster a spirit of gratitude and remain open to growth. This mindful approach encourages perseverance while making space for reflection and adjustment. It's easy to fixate on big goals and overlook the small milestones along the way. Yet, these small victories often carry the most profound meaning. Did you manage to stick to a weekly commitment, even during a busy month? Did you take a single meaningful step, like reaching out to someone in need or making an intentional lifestyle change? These moments deserve acknowledgement. Why are small victories so important? Because growth is rarely a straight line. It's more like climbing a spiritual staircase, where each step builds on the last. Celebrating these steps keeps you motivated and reinforces positive habits. Over time, these smaller achievements act like stepping stones, guiding you toward larger goals in a way that feels sustainable. Some practical ways to celebrate small victories could be: keep a journal. Write down moments of progress, no matter how minor they may seem. Over time, this can serve as a source of encouragement. Share with a friend or a group. Talking about your progress with others can deepen your bond and inspire mutual growth. Reward yourself meaningfully. Choose rewards that align with your values, like treating yourself to a quiet day of rest, a good book, or a donation to a cause you care about. Every act, no matter how small, contributes to living out those resolutions. Recognizing these acts fosters a heart of gratitude and continual sense of purpose. It's important to remember that as life unfolds, circumstances can change. What once felt achievable may now be unrealistic, or new priorities may arise. Adjusting resolutions isn't a sign of failure. It's a reflection of thoughtful and flexible mindset. Growth isn't just about rigidly following a set path. It's about staying open to where the journey leads. Take stock of your resolutions periodically. Are they still serving your goals and values? Are they drawing you closer to God, community, or creation? If a resolution feels burdensome or unhelpful, it's better to revise it than to abandon it entirely. Think of this process like tending a garden again. Sometimes plants need to be pruned or moved to thrive. Some steps to adapt resolutions mindfully are: reflect on your progress. Consider what's worked well and what hasn't. Reassess your priorities. Is this resolution still meaningful in the context of your current challenges or opportunities? Simplify if needed. It's better to succeed with one focused resolution than to struggle with several. You should refocus on intention. Shift the emphasis from the outcome to the purpose behind the goal. Life is dynamic, and resolutions should reflect that reality. Revising a goal to better suit your circumstances isn't giving up. It's growing in wisdom and humility, staying grounded in what truly matters. And so in conclusion, New Year's resolutions offer a unique path to meaningful change. By focusing on humility, service, simplicity, and care for creation, these commitments become more than personal goals. They reflect a deep connection to faith and purpose. Each resolution, guided by gospel living, becomes a quiet act of devotion, shaping a life marked by intentionality and grace. This approach calls us to consider not only how we grow individually, but also how we foster relationships, support our communities, and nurture the earth. It invites us to live with gratitude, patience, and generosity, recognizing that even the smallest actions can reflect God's love. As you set your own resolutions, let them be rooted in values that inspire lasting impact. Share your journey with others. Stay open to adjustments and celebrate the growth that unfolds. What steps will you take this year to live with greater faith, purpose, and compassion? The possibilities are boundless as the grace that guides you forward. I wish you again a Happy New Year, and may you remember your resolutions through this year and know that it's God that guides us through.
We are absolutely delighted to have you with us on this wonderful journey. We truly appreciate the incredible support from our growing audience and how our listeners enthusiastically share this with others. For all the latest updates about the podcast, make sure to visit the website at ourwalktogether.com. To be the first to receive news about our next episode, simply send us your email address and we will gladly add you to our newsletter mailing list. Rest assured, we never sell or share your email addresses. If you have questions or concerns, please email us through the website. All emails are answered. Thank you once again for taking the time to be here today.
Well, the music means that our time together is at an end. I would like to thank you for walking with me today. It's been a great blessing. All of the information about the podcast is available on the website ourwalktogether.com. Please invite your friends to also listen. You are the best advertisement. And so, until we meet again, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord let his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord look upon you kindly and give you his peace.